Have you ever wondered why it is that some neighborhoods, some communities really are not getting the appreciation, the valuation of their homes, even though they might be just a few miles away from another neighborhood? Well, all of us have seen that where, in some cases, wider, more affluent communities are experiencing more of that wealth gain that real estate promises than Black and Brown communities, lower income communities. Well, a lot of that comes through from what the appraisers do, what the whole appraisal process is. And so this is a really big and important issue. And because of that, I'm really excited today to share with you some wisdom from Bruce Richardson. Bruce is a realtor in Virginia. He's been doing this for almost 15 years now. And we're really excited to have Bruce. He's also an Association of Realtors Green designee, but also the 2022 Green Award winner for his work, all this work that he's been doing, promoting energy efficiency and green features throughout the community, but especially with what we're talking about today is how green features can help, especially Black and Brown communities, increase that valuation. So it's a really important thing and super happy to have you with us. Thanks so much for joining us, Bruce.
Good morning, Joan, to you and your audience.
Thank you. Bruce, before we dive in, I'm curious to know how you got into real estate and especially into this area of energy efficiency and a green focus.
I spent a long life working in government, and doing some of that work, I got involved in the completion and project management of leadership, energy, and environmental design buildings, LEED buildings through the U.S. Green Building Council. And upon sort of stepping away, or my transition from government life into my own business, I always had an interest in leaving this planet Earth a better place for the next generation. So that's what led me into getting involved in the green designation and then building a business brand based on being a green certified realtor.
For anyone who's not familiar with LEED, L-E-E-D, kind of a checklist approach of different things that you can do. And the more that you do, the higher the certification is. And there's all different topics like water and the envelope, like air sealing and insulation, indoor air quality, materials, the siding. So yeah, that's cool. So it really opened your eyes to, wait a second, this is something that I could take into my business. I kind of went the other way, which was doing building energy engineering. When I got into real estate, I was really surprised that people weren't talking about it more. So really happy that you are a voice for that. So this topic that we have today, using certified green homes, those green features to increase the valuation. Just before we dive into that, why is that a problem? What are you seeing with the appraisal valuations, and especially in Black and Brown communities?
There are nationwide reports this phenomenon of similar communities where valuations for similar aged homes. I'm not a licensed appraiser, but when you look at a home, you look at the age in which it was built, you look at square footage, you look at makeup of the home, bedrooms, and there are a lot of considerations to yield valuation. And so there have been national reports. What we have attempted to do in Virginia is get ahead of that. We believe we've created some opportunities where sellers and even buyers can take advantage of looking at green features in the home, or what's called the building envelope, and explaining to either a listing agent who may not be a green agent or high performance homes agent, as well as that seller being present when the appraiser arrives with their licensed professional and explaining, hey, I've done all of this. I have documentation to show my month over month energy consumption costs. And in providing that data, we have found that homes are coming in at value or above value.
Mm.
And one of the ways that we've been successful with our clients is we explain to our clients, if you have a certified report, what's called a home energy rating system report or HERS score for your home, you want to present that. And you may need to, hopefully there are other homes in the area that may have what we, comparable homes.
So Bruce, you have some steps that you walk people through. Should we look at those now?
Well, let me just elaborate on each of these steps. In any home that's listed and sold, there's a meeting held between you and your professional, your licensed realtor. And at that meeting, you're beginning to talk. That realtor's looking at your property, and they may already be familiar. They may have already sold a home in your community, or they may have represented you at the time of you purchasing that, or you may have walked with them over the last couple of months of preparing your home or prepping your home in the event of sale. So that meeting is so important that we get some of the data prepared for listing the home, and any of those features that you've added to the home is so important. So that would be the step one, is the importance of this meeting being held typically at the property, so there could be some of this information readily available. Step two, we talk about if your home has been certified, and there are independent agencies or auditors that will come out and certify our home. Here in Virginia, I can speak, part of my green designee that Joan referenced earlier, I'm fortunate that I'm able to participate with a group called Pearl Certification. So there are instances, guys, where we will say to our client, would you like for us to initiate getting your home audited? And getting that audit is a simple audit. They'll look at appliances. There are many of your appliances that are energy efficient, and they have labels on them. In particular, the heating and cooling systems in your home, the SEER ratings and things of that nature. So we want to have that audit performed by an independent party and provide us a document showing that. The third step that we often do is we'll do research on our own. And your realtor, your licensed professional, will do research in trying to establish what we call comparable values. We're realtors, we're not appraisers, but we're looking at homes that have sold in the area. And we're trying to see if those homes were shown as green built homes, because the more data that's provided for that appraiser, it helps that a home be green certified. So the more appraisers can have the information at arm's length, where they can come in and say, hey, we looked at a home 2 doors down that sold 3 weeks ago that was also green certified, it helps your valuation as well.
Okay, so step one was have that meeting. Step two is get certified if possible, and if so, try to identify some value. And I think that's a really important point. People can start by doing an audit with their utility company. That's
Yes.
a good place to start. They'll tell you about lots of things you can do, rebates that are available, but you can also ask them or your realtor, I've already done a bunch of this stuff. I have solar, I've added insulation, I have Energy Star appliances. Can I get certified? That certification is a concise way to convey a lot of information.
And Joan, let me add, and I want everyone to hear this. We have yet in our profession to consider homes based on their performance. But a lot of what consumers are doing with adding the most efficient SEER running unit to heat and cool the home, your home now has performance tied to it. So in many instances, we call them high performance homes because you're able to correlate the efficiency of your heating, cooling, your water service. If you use tankless systems, you're able now to correlate the performance. And this home energy rating score that we're going to talk about, or home energy rating system score, the HERS score, it's a performance. It is the performance. So we talk a lot about high performance vehicles. Homes also have the ability to do such as well. And so to piggyback on Joan's comments, that's a very important fact, is having a high performance score related to your home. In step 4, we go more into, in Virginia, we have concerns with indoor air quality. You're going to hear a lot of conversation about IAQ. And so if there are steps that you've taken in basement areas, or in Virginia, we use a lot of crawl space where you've conditioned the floor area or conditioned the crawl space, that improves the indoor air quality. In most instances, when you do that work, or if the builder has done that work, you'll have some documentation of the improved indoor air quality. So in Virginia, we have concerns related to asthma and allergy, and we tracked information through the Asthma Allergy Foundation of America. And we use that data to say, hey, this house has better indoor air quality. And your agent, your licensed professional, should be providing this information in the listing. It's very important that once you compile some of this data, that your agent puts it in the listing for you as well.
That's a great point, because it's one thing to find all these details, but if it's not conveyed anywhere, then people that care about that, and there are a lot of folks that do have different allergies and asthma and things like that, that if you've done something to improve the air quality. Here in Colorado, we have a lot of homes with radon. So if you put in an active radon system, or your builder did, these are things that are important. And I think also with COVID, that HEPA filters and that kind of thing is a whole additional thing that you could be mentioning.
Yes. And we're working more and more from home. We move into our next step here, and we talk about the home energy rating system score. The acronym is HERS. What we say to our sellers is, let me get a copy of it, because upon that appraiser arriving at your house, I want to be able to show them that documentation. So you want to have a copy of that home energy rating score. And I would even go as far, if you're a seller, having your agent upload that HERS score and attach to the listing. So important. Appraisers have told me, green appraisers or licensed appraisers have said, we need data. Data in helps in building the case for stronger green certified homes. So we really need that data to be uploaded. So if there is a HERS score, upload that information, because it's so important in our market and building this market. We're in sort of the early stages of encouraging high performance homes. So we want to build and make certain that clients who have these high performance homes are getting their true valuation. And that's the point, not only in Black and brown communities, but in all communities. We want to make certain that if you have a high performance home, that data is collected and documented as such.
And there's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy aspect to this whole thing. I was at a training where an appraiser was saying, I can't give any credit to solar because maybe it's leased and I don't have a way to do it, but I'll give you extra credit for a gas fireplace. And her reasoning was that, well, consumers want gas fireplaces and therefore they have value. And so it's really, it's kind of like nutritious food in schools. If nobody says anything and everybody's okay with it, then okay, that must be the way everybody wants it, because the kids are saying, well, I want a cheeseburger and fries every day. But if no adult is going in there going, guys, I want something more nutritious. And that's kind of what we're saying with the home. Yeah, gas fireplaces look nice, but as we're understanding what that impact is on our climate and moving toward electrification of our homes, then those valuations need to change. But we need to be talking about it as buyers, sellers, agents, investors, so that the appraisers will change their formula too. So it is kind of a circular loop there where we impact what that is. So being able to convey that in a way that the appraisers can understand, and the more that buyers are asking, hey, I want a green, then they can start increasing that value in their process too.
So important. I love the analogy you applied there with the school nutrition. I think that's a great analogy. But it is important that we in the profession really push and encourage sellers to understand you bring a lot to this equation of getting true valuation in your home. Because if you've taken the steps to make these improvements, or if you purchased a new home where these green features were already included, that needs to be conveyed. And sometimes we, of course, encourage your licensed realtor to identify and sit down with you, as we talked about in step one. But it's just, if no one advocates on your behalf for what steps you've taken, how comfortable the house is that you live in because of the steps that you've taken. My energy consumption, my heating and my cooling costs on a monthly basis is less than $45 a month. So when you buy this house, I can list my home at a higher price and still get the appraisal valuation, because the consumption use for that new homeowner is much cheaper. And that's a huge point that we've been successful with our clients. We've listed at the top of the market. And even when prices or offers have been presented above our listing price, the buyer, the new buyer, is aware on the kitchen countertop, we'll provide the monthly heating and cooling costs.
Yeah, that's another document that your agent could be uploading to demonstrate that. And I think also in Oregon and maybe in Canada, in some parts, they are already requiring that, which makes so much sense. This really gets back to the performance and having a way to quantify that, and making that an affordable place for people to be. All right, so let's keep going with your steps.
So we're on step number 6. As your real estate professional, as your licensed professional, I'm now controlling data into the listing of your home. And it is so important that that data be conveyed in a concise and layman's verse. So one of the areas that we are very stringent upon in our listings is when we add data to our information in our MLS, we will say the home is a high performance home, and we will request upfront in that listing that there be a green appraiser who performs the appraisal. We will say that upfront in the listing. And so although we know our appraisers are randomly selected, I know everyone is saying you have no control because that's a random selection by the lender. That is so true. But what we're trying to do now is we're trying to convey a message. The purchase agreement, that when offers are presented on any of our listings, we have locations where we can add additional comments, and we will add in our additional comments, or either via an addendum to the contract, that to the lender, that this home is a high performance home. It has an energy home rating system score, or HERS score. So we would request a licensed green appraiser. And the Appraiser Institute has a process for licensed appraisers to go through a green certification. So they are out here. Now, should one not be provided with both of those requests, you would be surprised when we go to meet that appraiser in step 8. You would be surprised. The appraiser comes out of their vehicle. The appraiser, he or she, will come out of their vehicle, and the first comment after good morning is, Mr. Richardson, I'm not a licensed I'm not a green appraiser, but we understand that your seller's home is a green certified home. So even, understand this now, this is real interesting.
Whoa.
Even though they are not green certified, because that communication has been made in the listing, and most appraisers, upon appraising a home, will have the purchase agreement with. So they have enough documentation up front that they're already cognizant that the home is a green certified home or a high performance home.
Okay, that's great, because that addresses one of the questions that I have, because I have heard, I've not had the opportunity to pursue this, but I've heard that there's only something like 2 green certified appraisers in Colorado. And one of them's in the metro area and one of them somewhere else. And we're not sure if even both of them are active. So that's a great thing to know, that it's like that saying, if you really want to do something, you'll find a way. And if you're not really dedicated to it, you'll find an excuse. So this is finding a way. So if there isn't certified green appraiser, then you've got this workaround. So yeah, let's talk about that.
The effort from your licensed professional is to just set the table, if you will, that the home, the property is certified. Now, as John has referenced, there are very few who hold the green certification, but there is an addendum to the appraisal that can be used. And there are instances, I carry a copy of it in my little tote bag, but there are instances where they will add the addendum to get that valuation. So there is an appraisal addendum that can be used to cover some of the green features. But the effort that your licensed professional, as well as you, have made and clearly conveying throughout the process that the home needs to be appraised by a green appraiser is so important. 8 is the importance of being present for the appraisal. Most lenders who represent the buyer will order the appraisal. And in doing such, they will reach out typically to the listing agent or the seller's agent to say, hey, the appraisal is scheduled between 8 and 12 on October 31st. And so between 7:45 and 12:30, you sort of need to be in close proximity. We have authentication of entering into our properties. We use some type of attachment to enter into a property, and we have that. So we have authentication. But in most instances, we'll try our best at the times, that range that we're given for that appraisal. And most of the appraisals are so good, they will call you 30 minutes out. Hey, I'm 30 minutes away from your property. And you should be present. Your licensed professional should be present to meet that appraiser and just have general conversation, because you are now able to give that appraiser how you came to your price point. And even should the offer be made above your listing price, you can give some background. The market is this way. Green homes, typically based on our statistical data from the National Association of Realtors, green homes sell faster. They sell in less days on the market, and they typically sell for a higher price point. So you are now able to provide some of that data, and you going in, if you reach the top of the market and listing that home, but now you're able to sort of provide that supporting documentation. And an appraisal may take a little longer in a green home. We say that because we've met with so many of our appraisers, and it may take a little longer because the appraiser is also trying to gain knowledge or provide the justification for the price point. So you just have to be present and work with that appraiser. It's so important.
I think another thing is sometimes we forget that all the people in this process, all the roles, they're people. And there's a very interesting, the Yale Climate Communications does a poll. It shows 70% of Americans, so in the US, are concerned about climate change. They're concerned for future generation. They want companies to do more. They want government to do more. And so individuals who see something happening, we tend to think they don't want to be part of it. It's just a pain for them. But I think we need to kind of open up and think that they may really want to learn about this. So this is an opportunity for them to see how this can actually work and understand that it's not hopeless. People are doing something. Here's an example right now, and you get the opportunity to see it for yourself and kind of open your mind and to really understand that these are people. They want to learn, they want a better future, they want a livable future for their kids. And this is a great opportunity. Yeah, it may take more time. They might kind of resist at first, and that's okay. But be open to the fact that they might actually really enjoy this process and be thankful for opportunity.
I would just like to wrap with step number 10 is documentation, documentation, documentation. We've said throughout each of these steps, the documentation is the evidence. And a lot of these appraisals, they are licensed. They have difficult valuations. They do not want to overvalue our house or add fluff into a market, but they do want to get this accurate. In your suggestion or your support or your advocation in helping them give you true valuation is something that we say to many of our clients. And so when we hear of these nationwide issues with evaluation, appraisal valuation, they may not all be on homes that are high performance homes. But one of the areas that we can still say, should that not be the case, if you've made small steps, and many people will make improvements in their home. And so some of the areas that we recommend that you look at improving are the insulation. So if you can go into an attic and if you can prove the insulation thickness or R value as is commonly referred to, or if you can go under a crawl underneath of your home in the crawl space or in the basement and do some things to the insulation. Insulation is the most cost efficient way of getting true value. If you can change from a water tank for your showers and your water use to maybe a tankless system, if you can do those smaller steps that are not huge money grabs, these are items that you can use in your house and have documentation. The appliances, which we talked about earlier, getting a new kitchen set with all Energy Star labeled appliances. All of these are areas that you can take and maybe bring that valuation or have something to document to that appraiser and work with your licensed realtor to help in giving you more value or higher value compared to those homes that are recently sold. So the goal here is the documentation, documentation, documentation.
Right. And I think the other thing is that people listening might already get overwhelmed, like, oh man, I'm not sure what I should do first, or how do I find a installation contractor? So knowing that, like, for example, here in Colorado, Xcel Energy has that energy audit program. They have a list of qualified contractors. They have rebates. And there are also other programs out there that offer loans to do these energy efficiency upgrades. So again, if you want to do it, there is a way. So we encourage you to go for it and consider if you can reach a home energy rating score of some kind, that get that certified. That is also going to help at that time that you go to sell your home, or if you're looking to buy one, asking about the energy bills and all these things that, unfortunately, I mean, I'm just shocked that it's not part of the process, but the way it's going to be is the more of us that are talking about it and raising these ideas, putting that information in the MLS, getting that conversation going. The thing that I'm looking at lately is really like, as my dream, my goal is to find some small multifamily homes and do these kinds of renovations to show, because people go in and they'll renovate homes with new paint and carpet, and not do the insulation, not understand that all these rebates that are out there, more rebates now coming with the Inflation Reduction Act. There's huge amounts of money that are there for individuals, for investors, for communities. So we can see this future and we can make it happen. So I'm excited to this idea that you do all that work and then how you then work with your appraiser to make sure that that value shows up when it's time to sell the home. So yeah, what is kind of a last wrap up comment from you?
Joan, I would say to everyone, look at cost-effective ways. If you have a home that's much older, look at what's most cost-effective. So we will often get questions, and this is not to beat up window installers, but we'll often get questions, should I add windows? And you have to look at the cost-effectiveness of that. If there are other ways that you can try reduce the energy consumption with adding insulation and changing possibly the SEER rating of your HVAC system, your heating and cooling system, and even the flow of your water toilets and your water faucets to gain lower costs on a monthly basis, that may be a more viable option, even for an older built home. So a lot of this is, it's not, hey, I'm listing my house November the 15th and I'm getting started today. It's a duration. And so we've worked with clients 4 or 5 months to make sure that we're able to have documentation, that important documentation for that appraisal. Because at the end of the day, and I'll leave everyone with this, the goal here is to get you a just value for your property that you are willing to sell. We're not appraisers, but we want to do everything, use all of the tools in our toolkit to make certain that we gain that value, because we want to end the stories that have been reported of lower appraisal valuations in certain communities. And we think these steps that we've employed, that we engage with our sellers as well as our licensed appraisal professionals, we think those are steps that get us to that endpoint of making sure valuation is there. Thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, thanks so much, Bruce. And yeah, as you were saying, if there is a systemic bias, you might feel like, gosh, well, what can I do? You might start to feel hopeless, but this is a way that you can take some actions, document it, find an agent that really understands it and can help you. You can look at the NAR Green directory,
Yes.
but also reach out to Bruce or I, and we can help you find somebody in your area as well. And the great thing is beyond that, that it's improved comfort, improved air quality, lower bills for that next person that has your home or yourself, and a better future that's protecting our environment and our climate and really setting our kids and future generations up for a better life going forward. All right. Well, thank you so much, Bruce. I really appreciate it.
I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it.
All right. Thanks, everybody. And I appreciate you hopping in. Make sure if this is something that you like, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to know more about how you can make a positive environmental impact when buying, selling, or investing, then subscribe to the Denver Green Living channel, and I will see you soon.